Now, please welcome Ariel Bardin, Vice President, Google Payments.
Gotta wait for the music. Thank you to the folks at Money 2020 for inviting me over to speak to all of you, and thank you for taking the time to listen. My name is Ariel Bardin. I'm leading the payments team at Google Payments, and I'm new to payments. I've been in ads or AdWords for about 8 years before joining payments, and there are a bunch of us coming over from AdWords to payments, which is kind of a reflection of how Google sees the tight correlation between payments and ads, and we want to make sure we really do a great job with this kind of integration. One of the first things I did when I came over to the team was go visit partners, hopefully some folks in the room. And I heard an interesting question that I'll paraphrase in my own way of speaking, but it was basically, why the hell is Google in payments? OK, so some of you guys have thought about that question too, I see. So I'll try to answer that question today. So let's back up a little bit. Let's assume that this guy is like me 15 years ago. I was very cheap. I'm kind of cheap today, too. And I'd drive around different stores looking at, I guess, washing machines in this case, trying to find the best deal, annoy the hell out of my wife. It was a very annoying experience. And I think what we know is that with mobile, the shopping experience is really changing, and we think we can be a great part of it. So let's think about the shopping experience. So we think, of course, of the three phases: the pre, doing research, et cetera; during, so actually finding a store, driving to a store, et cetera; and post, making a payment, and all that good stuff. So what we did was we talked to 1,500 smartphone users and tried to understand what do they do in these different phases. So the first thing we heard was, and this is probably not surprising to all you guys, but 90% of the users we talked to use mobile phones, not only desktop, mobile phones, before going to a store to do research. In this case, 44% are comparing prices. During shopping, so at the store or trying to find a store, 84% use phones while they're in the store to do something useful, hopefully. We found an interesting stat from third-party research about what people want to do post-shopping. And specifically, 45% want to have loyalty cards. But when asked by the third-party researchers, do they actually have them, only 4% had loyalty cards in their wallet. So this is an area we thought as one of many areas that we can help users with, being Google. So let's talk a little bit more about Google in the context of these three phases again. So talking about the pre-phase, the research phase, we have quite a few products that map to that phase. Of course, we have Google Search. And Google Search is getting 100 billion searches per month. So it's huge. A lot of that, of course, is shopping. We have Google Shopping, which now includes 1 billion products in our index, or the ability to search over those products globally. And we're seeing more and more traffic from mobile to those sites. For example, the second half of last year saw a 5x increase in queries to specific categories, namely technology, clothing, shoes, and accessories. So over and over again at Google, we're seeing more and more mobile traffic related to shopping. So let's talk a little bit about the during phase. So how do I find a store? Obviously, we have Google Maps. Google Maps now has 1 billion monthly active users globally. Huge numbers. We have Google Offers as well that gives you offers so that when you go to the store, you can hopefully save a buck. I mentioned I'm cheap. On the Google Wallet side, in the post and making payments, we recently launched our app that we'll talk about and show you a demo. And within 3 weeks of our launch, we have 200,000 cards added, majority of them loyalty cards. So if you think back to that slide we talked about a moment ago, this is an example of how we can really help address pain points. So now, that, I hope, answers one part of the question of why the hell is Google in payments. We think we can do a great job for users, really enhance the user experience when shopping. But there's another aspect as well, and that's the merchant side. So forgive me for taking you back to my old stomping grounds, but I'm guessing not everybody here has actually seen AdWords. We think we can do a great job connecting merchants to users in this mobile environment, in the real world. So what I'm showing you here is, frankly, one of the reasons why Google AdWords has become so successful. Namely, this is an advertising medium where every dollar you spend can be understood completely. So let's just go through what we show advertisers. So we show advertisers the number of times their ads were displayed, so what we call that impressions. Keep things interesting. Number of times the ads were clicked on. The cost for every click. The number of conversions that they got. And then the cost per conversion. So if you put your marketing hat on, you have the cost and you have the revenue. You can calculate return on investment. That, in a nutshell, is why AdWords is so successful. But now let's think about those last columns that you need to calculate ROI in the real world. And using wonderful animation, you can see that they simply don't exist. Because when a user sees an ad on a mobile phone or on a desktop and then walks into the store, we don't get that signal. Now, this is a problem that we want to solve, and we have many efforts around there. For example, we announced recently that we can start figuring out conversions across devices. We can report on calls. So there's a bunch of things we're doing. But we really see payments as a strong signal to complement the other signals that we have, to allow us to, again, bring back those columns so our advertisers can understand how their spend works. Now, it's important in this context that I also point out that there are two things we need to be very thoughtful about. The first is user privacy. So you look at these numbers. They're all counts. This is aggregate information. There's no user privacy information or user private information, aggregate, anonymous information that we present to merchants. The second thing we have to be thoughtful about is merchants' data. So we want to collect this data to show to merchants. As you can see here, the merchant logs in and sees how their ads are performing. So it's merchants for their own use. So these are two very important points. And this is all very important to us because while e-commerce has taken off and is a larger and larger percentage of commerce overall, it still represents less than 10% of commerce, and 90% of commerce, 90% plus of commerce is happening in the real world. So this is a problem that we want to try to solve. So hopefully I've answered that annoying question, or the way I phrased it at least, from two perspectives, right? User value as well as merchants connecting to users. But let's talk a little bit about what we think we can bring to this wonderful world of payments. So we've actually been in the payments world for a while, 12 years since AdWords started. We collect money from our advertisers in over 200 countries. We're a global platform. And we actually tallied up what we collected over 12 years, and it came to over $140 billion. So our platform is pretty good at collecting money. But we also disperse money. We have a program, AdSense, which is how publishers are able to monetize the content on their websites. Again, a global product. And there, only last year, we've dispersed $7 billion. So we're pretty good at collecting money. We're pretty good at dispersing money. This is a global platform that we have that we can bring to payments. Now, we're also bringing it to new products at Google. Google Play is a huge success for us. It's accelerating rapidly. Again, a global phenomena. And I'll just throw one stat at you guys. Over last year, the revenue we collect from a Play user is up 2.5% just in the course of 1 year, globally. So our payment system has to keep up with that amazing growth. So let's talk a little bit about our strategy in Google Wallet specifically. First of all, we're focused on users, as we are at Google. And we're focused on making sure that Wallet can be used in as many places and as many ways as users want to use them. So really focused on wallet acquisition. There are 4 parts to our strategy to achieve that. I don't have to tell you guys about ubiquity of payments and how important it is. We want to make sure that our payments are everywhere. The first is, of course, Google. Making sure that we can power all of Google's existing products, including YouTube, et cetera, but also new products. So we recently announced an integration of Google Wallet into Chrome, into our browser. called Chrome Payment Form. We've also announced Helpouts, which is a marketplace where people can get help online. And these are examples of new products that we work with the teams to help power. The third thing we do for Google is we spend time with teams trying to figure out how can we enhance existing products in new, interesting ways using payments. Great example of that is adding payments or attach money to Gmail. The second part of our strategy is really enabling third-party merchants to accept Google Wallet. We want to make sure, again, that users can use Google Wallet anywhere they want. And we've had great success with this Buy with Google button, which is part of what we call Instant Buy, on different sites, including Priceline, Fancy, Uber, and other great merchants. And I'll talk about the results of those integrations in a moment. Next, we want to go to the real world. We just talked about how important the real world is. We launched an app that is available on iOS and Android. If you have NFC, you can pay with NFC. If you don't, you can keep an eye on what we'll be doing in the future, because we will be adding other ways of paying. It also includes loyalty and offers, and we'll be adding more and more functionality to make this wallet very compelling. And you'll see demos in a moment. And lastly, we want to create great value to merchants. And we talked about one example, which is closing the loop. So we've talked a lot in slides, and we always like to do demos at Google. So let's switch over to demos. Let me just give a quick preamble. We're in Vegas, and our team loves betting. I think I'm allowed to say that in Vegas. I recently lost $1 to a good friend of mine called Peter, who is one of the product directors at Google. And I'm pretty sure that one of the reasons why he built P2P in the app is to be able to let me pay him money so that I don't have another excuse. So I'd like to show you how that works. And so now let's switch over to our trusted iPhone. That was indeed the cue. Thank you. All right, so you can see this is not an Android phone. This is iOS 7. There's Wallet. OK, so I can go into the wallet. There I am. I think that picture might be better than my caricature outside, but that's OK. All right, so I will start typing. We autocomplete. There's Peter. And I want to send him $1. And I will say, give him a message, finally, because he's been nagging me for a while. I think I mentioned I'm cheap. Oh, I can't even type. OK, let's try that again. Finally. Still can't. But luckily, iOS can correct it. Spelling is not my strong suit, obviously. OK, so I will send Peter money. See how long it takes the bits to travel. On Wi-Fi, don't conk out on us. Peter, why don't you come on and show us how you received the money? There we go.
Sure. Hey, nice to see you guys. I call it Money 2020. Let me bring up my screen here, and we'll start to figure out what's going on.
Hopefully your Wi-Fi works better than my Wi-Fi.
Yeah. All right. So as you can see, there's a picture of my beautiful daughter. And the cool thing about having kids is they have birthdays, and I have 2 of them. They happen on the same day because they're twins. Their names are Luke and Leah. And one of the things that they like to do, and yet really Luke and Leah, is eat pizza. Wife, Japanese, never seen the movies, don't go there. Anyway, so let's go in and have a look at some options for gifts for the kids. So first thing first, let's have a look at some of the new ways we can save coupons to the wallet. And it's a little bit bright there, so I don't know if the camera guys can improve the brightness. But in any event, or maybe I will do it. Let's see. How's that? Looks a little better. There we go, beautiful. OK, so one of the great new partnerships we've been doing is working with the guys like Valpak. And what's nice about Valpak is they have a whole bunch of coupons that you can see. And for example, you can see I live in Foster City, San Mateo. So I'm going to go browse by categories. You can see restaurants. And you can see a couple of options on pizza. That looks pretty good. Kids love pizza. So I'm going to get something from Mountain Mike's. And what's nice about this is we just hit Use to save the coupon to my wallet. And this is the traditional model. So you get some sort of QR code and so on. But what's nice about what we've done with Google Wallet and made possible across all of our different types of merchants is the ability to save that offer to Google. Once I've done that, you'll see it pops up, says it's automatically saved it to my wallet. And then if I was in the wallet app, what you would see over here is the offer is saved to my wallet, Mountain Mike's Pizza, and I have the coupon just like you would expect. Geofenced, works really great, so if I go near the store, automatically I'm going to get reminded to use the coupon. Super clean, super easy. The next thing you probably want to figure out is, well, how do we make it easier to buy stuff online? And so we've, oh, and there we have someone tweeting me. That's cool. That's why it's a real-time demo. Anyway, so as you can see here, this is a cool new app we've partnered with called The Fancy. And The Fancy is a great place to shop for interesting stuff. So I'm going to search for piggy bank, because my kids need one of those, not a piggy bank. There we go. Let's have a look at that. Oh, trust fund. Perfect. Just what the kids need. OK, 85 bucks. I think we'll go buy that. And as you notice here, we've got this automatic button here called Buy Now. And when I click on Buy Now, it'll ask me to choose which user I want to use on my phone. And this is built into Android, so as a developer, I no longer have to worry about figuring out how to get a credit card from a user or any of that stuff. It automatically converts. I hit Continue, and we automatically transfer to the merchant your credit card, your shipping address, and all the rest of it. So I'll buy that, and I'll send that to the house. And then the last thing I want to sort of think about is, well, maybe we need some party favors, things like that. And so one of the great new things we're having in the wallet is loyalty programs. And you can see here I'm a member of Alaska, Belly, Red Mango. And perhaps one of the things I might want to consider doing is joining Walgreens. So I'm very, very excited to talk about our new partnership today. And as Ariel mentioned earlier, we're seeing really amazing conversion of users coming in on new programs. So I'm going to go into Walgreens. You can see here's a bit of branding about how to join their program. I'm going to say join now. I'm going to change my age. Let's go a bit younger. It's how I feel, not how I am. And let's go, and we say create an account. And in real time, we're reaching out to Walgreens infrastructure, creating a loyalty account, and it's perfect. Geofences, I can show and scan the card. Everything's beautiful. So really, really easy, all integrated, built into the wallet. And yes, Ariel, you can still pay me your money when you owe me.
I don't know. It seemed like I couldn't. The Wi-Fi didn't let us do it.
All right. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Peter. Luckily, Peter's phone worked just fine. So I'm excited also about Walgreens in the wallet, and for a selfish reason, I moved to California a few years ago, and when you live in California, it turns out you have to buy a lot of crazy vitamins. So I spent a lot of money at Walgreens on vitamins to kind of fit in. All right, let's talk about 2013. We had a very busy year, the launches that we had, as well as some of the results from these launches, and then we'll wrap up. So first, we started off with the Buy on Google button, Buy with Google button. You see the blue button there on Rockport. Rockport is one of our earlier partners. This is on an m-commerce website. We then continued at Google I/O, and we had 4 big launches. The first was Buy with Google as an SDK on Android. So now any app in Android that's selling physical goods can easily integrate with the existing SDK that's on all these Android phones. The next thing we launched was Pay by Gmail. So this was attaching money. You can see how you can have the little icon there right next to an image. Just the same way that you would attach an image to an email, you can now attach money to an email and send it. Great example of collaboration with another team at Google. The third thing we launched was the Wallet Objects API. And so this is the merchant side of what Peter just showed you, the integration from Walgreens to create new accounts, as well as add existing cards and get real-time updates on points, et cetera. And the last thing we launched was the Save to Google, in this case, Save Offers. You can expect to see other type of objects in the future that you'll be able to go to other websites, click on the button as a user, and save it. In this case, our partner, Valpak. And lastly, we launched the new app that you've just seen on both Android and iOS. So let's talk quickly about the results that we've seen. We've launched this app 3 weeks ago, and we've had 2 million activations already, which we're very, very excited about. I'm also very excited about the use of loyalty. So our partner, Alaska Airlines, integrated early, and you can see the Join program now. They told us recently that they've seen a spike of 23% in overall enrollments for their loyalty program since we launched our product. So it's had a huge impact on their loyalty program. So let's talk about some other results. On the Instant Buy, or that blue button, Tabbed Out is a great app for paying at bars. They have integrated this button into their app, and they're telling us that 25% of all tabs paid on Android are coming from Google Wallet. Rulala is a great app for buying fashion. My wife could tell you guys all about that one. They're telling us that Google Wallet, 50% of Google Wallet users become repeat users within a month, which is much higher than other users of their app. And Fancy, which is a great app for viewing interesting products as well as buying them, of course, integrated for desktop, m-commerce, as well as the Android app, and they integrated Google Plus sign-in as well as Wallet. And what's nice here is that when you want to sign up for Fancy, it's like one click, and when you want to pay, it's one click. So it's a great integration. And they're telling us that they're seeing an increase of 20% in conversions, as well as 14% in basket size, so for G+ users. So the last thing I want to share is that we at Google see this as a long-term bet. I'm sure many of you guys can appreciate it takes time to make changes. People are used to doing what they're doing today. We see this as a long-term bet. But also, this is not a zero-sum game. We know that we're going to be partnering with great partners, hopefully some in the room. And I'm reminded by the effort it took Google to get to the place where online documents are used. So when I first heard about online office productivity documents in the cloud, I thought to myself, why in the world would I want to save a document to the cloud? But recently, I was talking to my daughter and telling her the wisdom of backing up her computer, and she looked at me like I'm a little bit nuts, which is happening more and more often as she matures. And she said to me, why would I ever want to save a document to my computer? Because she's grown up in this cloud. And so things can change. It takes time. But with a great effort, we hope that we can get there. And finally, thank you for spending 20 minutes with the new guy on the block.
Thank you, Ariel.